13th of February 2025, the day before Valentine's Day. The side garden, there's some lovely flowers popping up there, a lot of alyssum and some weeds sort of tucked in as well, but that's alright. We'll go around the front now. So I've actually cut down the top of the plum tree here because I don't want it to grow too tall, because obviously I can't harvest from there and it's just not as practical. I've also cut some of the branches that were growing in amongst itself. Plum trees seem to have a habit of growing in and sort of twisting around themselves, so I'll sort of tidy that up a little bit. And we have the front garden beds. We also have the second sunflower bed, which actually worked out alright. A bit of a slow start, but it seems alright now. Some more weeding needs to be done here, in amongst there, around here. These ones, they basically come from under the footpath here, so I have to sort of keep on top of that, which is a bit annoying. Self-sown tomatoes, which is fine. People have those on the way past, that's alright. Little flowers there, and weeds. We go across to this side. Lavender's doing nicely. The lemon tree still going alright. It's not exactly bolting up, but that's okay. The remainder of the liliums, I'm leaving those until they sort of turn brown, then I'll cut them down. The gladioli didn't really flower, so I think they might have just been a bit too disturbed, possibly, and also the lack of watering probably an issue as well. But that's alright. They're still there, they're still sort of growing, they'll be nice next year, hopefully. Got to top up the bird bath, obviously. A little bird bath garden. I think a lot of that's alyssum and a few other bits and pieces in there, but just to provide a little bit of colour. Possibly a self-sown plum there, I suspect. Do a bit of a turnaround. The roses between things at the moment, so I should probably get rid of those flower buds that have done their thing. Cyclamen, I think, there. The seemingly perpetual alyssum. The odorata. I've actually cut the dried tops off the aquilegia there. Just sort of tidy it up a bit. The lupins, which have spread out further across here, which is quite good. I'll come around this one because there is actually a flower spike, or the end of a flower spike there. The hollyhock, some snapdragons, not from seed, those ones were purchased, but every now and then you've got to grab a few new flowers and things from the store, don't you? You don't have to, but I do. And Nepeta there, which is quite strong scented there. Another one of those snapdragons, more alyssum, another gladioli. There's actually another Nepeta there in the back, and I think I've got an alyssum in front. These are my dahlias, which I think are in their third year. Those were grown from seed. They're not the big flashy ones, but they're alright. They do the job. Hollyhock here, which is from last year. It's I think it's pretty much done its thing, so I should probably cut that back at some point. The carnations, I think, Delphinium carnation, something like that. Dianthus, I think. That's alright. Fruit trees. Just more. I think that's another Nepeta there. I need to start getting some flowers to sort of fill in the back here, but we'll get to that. That's alright. So again, the little patch there, and now I'll duck around the back. Just a quick bonus video before go around the back. This is a little sort of terrarium of sorts I made. There's some kiwi seeds in there. Hopefully they're still okay. It's just a little cheese slice container, but it holds the moisture in quite well. And that sort of goes on the windowsill to hopefully let them propagate. Yeah, just thought I'd show that. Kiwi seeds do take about a month to germinate though, so it could take a while to find out. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my pot of tea, and I'll leave you to the rest of the garden video. Okay, so I've actually cut the grapevine back a bit. Now, a bunch of these have this sort of greyish stuff on it. It's not a powdery thing. You can see there is a coating on there, but they've still got that coloration to them, so I'm not entirely sure what is causing that. But I snipped it off around here a bit because I want it to keep growing that way, which is why I've got the rebar mesh, I think it's called, over there, basically to help encourage it that way. The little geranium, I believe it is, just there. Got its flower there, which is good. Probably because I cut the grapevine out from around it, so it's getting a bit more white, which is nice. Potato, self-seeded, of course. Stretching back, we've got some more corn growing up the back there. The bit behind the corn is actually a celery plant, which is basically going to seed, I think, now, which is fine. Lots of self-seeded potatoes and tomatoes in the mix there. So I've got a tomato in there somewhere. I've got a little sprinkler now for here. Basically, we have very low water pressure, but that one, it gives a bit of coverage. It just means it sort of spins around and covers a bit of the area. It just means I can leave that going, go and do other things, and then come back and sort of change it around a bit. Gives me a bit more flexibility. This is the next little corn that hopefully will produce. And then there's this one, and then the one at the back. Well, the one at the back might actually be before here, but either way, we've got a few lots of corn to do, to grow, hopefully. So a few serves from. The zucchini plant there is doing very well. I've actually trimmed it back, partly because many people in the family aren't too fussed about zucchini, and as anyone who's grown zucchini knows, even just one plant produces more than you generally tend to have. So I figure if that one dies off, it's fine. There's actually another one which is still kind of a seedling, but may well take off, that's further around. If that takes off, that's fine. I believe that's a few watermelon plants. Actually, they're all sort of planted together, and it looks like they're all growing. Should probably thin it, but I probably won't, because that's fine. And there's another reason for that as well. This one, I believe, is possibly another zucchini, or it could be cucumber. I'm not entirely sure. More self-sown potatoes, I believe. Alyssum. The red grape, because this one's a red or purple, I think it's a red one, whereas that one's a white grape. This one, I've trimmed that back a bit because it was mostly, you can see there's one there growing over here quite a lot. That's stalk basil. Those ones that you get at the supermarket, which is like one small tub with about 20 different plants in it. So I know those are all bunched together. I'm not fussed about that because I actually have some other ones throughout the garden. These are borlotti beans because I like the coloration of them. Not sure if I'm going to like the flavour, but there's space there. We'll grow them. So as I said, I know why that's there, because that should actually be tucked up to go over there, which is the idea, to train them up there, but that's all right. See, there's more of the basil there, another borlotti bean there. This is the main watermelon plant. Well, I should also say, this is the grass, which has come in quite nicely. So the idea here is that hopefully it'll be nice to lie down on when the arch has been covered in things, and you sort of relax in here during summer. The apple tree is still doing quite nicely. I believe I'll probably end up cutting this branch off because it sort of comes over the footpath, and that sort of leaves more of it sort of going straight up. We'll see. I might end up just sort of trimming off the edges, but we'll see about that one. More of the sunflowers, and I think one of the mice keeps getting in here, which is quite annoying, but anyway. We also have a lot of these, which I believe are a nightshade, one of the forms of nightshade. They popped up all through the bit where I was trying to grow my grass, and I don't want them because they tend to self-seed, as you can see, quite easily. But anyway, my bamboo is now over here, actually in the ground. It's a clumping form, so it shouldn't spread out as they have been known to do, so that should be nice and compact there. The gooseberry, the rhubarb. I got some more pecans recently, so I'll do another apple and rhubarb crumble soon. The jostaberry is looking quite good. The blueberries in there is not looking as good, but that's all right. More snapdragons, and these ones, I can't remember their name, but I quite like those. Nice pop of colour. Alyssum, because I like those as a fill-in plant. And you might notice there is no longer a compost there, which is where it used to be, because it is now down here. There's a hollyhock there. There was a foxglove behind it. There's a little mouse that uses that as a little run, which is a bit annoying, but ho-hum. It's probably the same one that's getting into my garden. But anyway, and I've just seen, you can see there's a flower there, but you can also see one that is in bloom there. So clearly the water lily is doing very nicely. This one's also quite nice. Whoop, I can grab the tip of it. There's a nice sort of purple flower. There we go. It's quite a nice little flower spike to that. That gets kind of cut back each year and then goes again from where it is. And then I can't remember what sort that is, but that one's basically, specifically there is an oxygenating plant. I also need to get rid of some of the old dead leaves of the lily pad, but that's okay. So that's basically its own ecosystem now. I don't need to put any food in there for the fish. There's enough of the algae and little bugs and things that go in there that they're doing it just fine. They're all out of the way at the moment, but I did see them the other day, so they're okay. The raspberry, which, as I think I said last time, I followed the instructions on the little label, which I think is still in there somewhere. Oh, yeah, there it is. And I cut it all back this year, but I haven't had any fruit on it, so I suspect it's actually incorrectly labelled. So there we go. I've just noticed a dead rat in my bucket here. I don't know how it got in there. I won't show it. It's not particularly gross or anything, but that's unexpected. Anyway, these are my cuttings of gooseberries. So I'll see how they go. There's a little flower over there. Again, it's a bit of a surprise seeing that rodent there, but there we go. Now, the old greenhouse. So these haven't been going so well for me, and it's not their fault, it's my fault. You can actually see here, for some reason, the moisture level does not stay the same in them. I don't think that's necessarily the issue. I'll just drop some of that into there. But probably doesn't help things. That's a previous lot, so that's probably not expected to do much either. I have resown into this one though, and again, oh, actually, have I? No, not this one. Sorry, it must be this one there. I think I did put new labels on. Yeah, that's the one. Lupin and Canterbury bells. So these lupins are ones from the front. I managed to gather some seeds from them. Oh, Audrey's still doing well. And we'll see what happens with that. I think at the moment it's a bit too hot in here. Now, I did make myself a little sieve. It's not exactly great, not neat. It does get out the larger parts, but it doesn't really do well with the smaller parts. And that cost me, just the mesh cost me about, I think, nearly $20. The wood I had from other projects, so it was about $20. And when I thought, it's not really doing what I want, I thought, hang on a moment, I'll just go to my local op shop or thrift store if you're in the States or somewhere. And I found this for $2. Yes, it's got these fish sort of twirled into it, but that's a much finer mesh and should do much better for basically the stuff here, which is not that one, it's that one, it's the all-purpose potting mix. That is a little bit coarse, so hopefully I can make a finer grade to go in there, and that might help my germination as well. Here, I think that's a big weed at the back in amongst the alyssum, which I'll have to get rid of, but anyway, there's still a pineapple plant there. The main pineapple plant's still there, which still has this cherry tomato growing out of it. I've actually harvested quite a few tomatoes off that, actually, and we've used those in sauces and things, which is nice. The avocado's still doing fine there. We've got an alpine strawberry here, which has got some fruit on it, so that's all right. And then there's self-sown potatoes, and then there's some peas, which I put in there as well. Anyway, we shall go to the last part of the garden. Excuse the mess. Sure, I could have stopped and then restarted it, but nah, we're all good. This is actually part that I chopped down off that tree, which is my nectarine. Now, this one used to get the leaf curl. It still has got a little bit of leaf curl damage on it, but it's also come back remarkably well. Now, I don't know if that means that if it's building up a bit of an immunity or if it's just had a second flush, but that's the first fruit tree that I grew from stone. From a stone, so as in the fruit, not from just a stone on the ground, but you know what I mean. So I'm happy to let that keep growing whether it produces or not, but I am curious because, as I said, that's a very nice bit of new growth to it, so we'll see. This, which I believe is a plum tree, which I need to cut down from the top as well, has never produced fruit, but I probably need to give it a bit more care and fertilizer and things, so there we go. So we have more of the, I believe, dianthus, or I think they're also known as some carnation. I think they're the same name for the same sort of thing. Got some butterflies in there, which is nice. It's exactly sort of part of the reason why I have these flowering plants. Well, then, because I like the flowers. But this one I actually cut back as well, because it has just grown madly there. Well, maybe madly is not the right politically correct term, but it has grown very well there. My tea tree plant is not doing quite so well. I moved it out here. It's possibly still bits of green on it. It could still be alright. I'll just leave it there. Worst case, I have to get another one at some point and find a better spot for it. But anyway, around here, I believe this is it's either African dawn, African sunset, something to do with the stage of the sun's motion in Africa. So that dahlia survived. It's the only one of 3 that I actually bought as tubers that seems to have survived. So at least it survived. The Hebe's there, still doing nicely. Another snapdragon, lots of alyssum. I believe this is a riverside daisy, I think. There's a lavender in the back, and there's my orange tree, which is from seed. Some more snapdragons. See, this is why I love snapdragons. They just produce a nice burst of colour, lots of flowers, and just sort of livens it up a bit. The apple tree from seed is still growing very well. And the other one is still looking stunted in comparison, but it's still fine. And then this looks like it's probably a nectarine tree or something like that. And then a bit down here. Now, it is possible that some of the greenery around here is actually, what's it called? I can't remember. Basically, no, still can't remember. Anyway, the bigger bits there, as you can see there-ish, and there, those are either the watermelon or pumpkin. Looks like mostly pumpkin, actually. I think pumpkin, and I think that one's watermelon, just by the look of the leaves from here. So they can just grow in here and spread out. It will need another weed again at some point, but at least the back part is looking all right. So that's doing okay. I still can't think of what it's the little tiny, not cress, but that sort of thing. But anyway, I sprinkled a whole bunch of those in there because I had a whole bunch left over, and that was fine. Anyway, that is the garden on the 13th of February 2025. Hope you're doing well. Hope the weather is treating you well and getting better for those who've suffered through some fairly rough stuff. And happy gardening. Thanks for watching.